We're live now, sir. We're live now.
Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Gehi, and this is a live session. Firstly, we need to apologize for the short delay that we had in connection with some technical issues. And yes, you all will get an opportunity to ask your questions. Welcome to Green Card with Gehi, a live session with Attorney Gehi. We are going to take immigration questions for people who have immigration questions and answers. Yes, of course, it's a live session. So feel free to ask us your questions. Feel free to kind of basically make sure that you're ready. And we can take a lot of questions and make our people happy today. So today's session is about options for H-1B visa holders. Now, people apply for the lottery and you did not get selected for the lottery program. What are your options? What can you do and what you cannot do? The most common thing is that people get depressed. I applied for the lottery and my employer did, but unfortunately, I did not get selected. Now, let's divide this into two categories. One's are people who are from India and from China. And second are people from non-backlog countries. So if you're not from a backlog country, the first thing that I would do is this is what I would do. I would go on my computer right here, and I would look at the visa bulletin. So I am deliberately going to Google the visa bulletin in front of you so that you all can learn with me as you go on and you all can understand what our options are if you were not selected. Now take an example. You belong to Japan and you're in America on a student visa and you did not get selected for the H-1B lottery, and you are a part of the STEM occupation. I'm sure everyone knows STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math, and you have 29 months on your OPT. So the first thing I would do, I've been here and my employer applied for the H-1B. I'm not selected. I have already passed 8 or 9 months. So the first thing I'm doing right now is I'm going to go through the visa bulletin chart to see what is going on right now. And I'm looking at the June bulletin or the July 2023. All right. I press the visa bulletin. And after that, I want you all to press it with me so I can teach you at the same time. So get to the visa bulletin page and press it right now to see your category. And you go down, scroll down, and let me see the employment-based category over here. All right. I got to the employment-based category here. All right. So now, what am I seeing over here? I'm seeing the first category. Excellent. So check that whether you are a person of extraordinary ability and you're from Japan. Great news. Your priority date is current. So now you're that great PhD guy who has publications and who's very, very much a hero in the profession. And you want to just apply. And you're qualified straight up because it shows that exactly your category is current. And the good news is that you should consider applying under basically the EB-1A. EB-1A, what is the EB-1A? EB-1A is meant for people who are of extraordinary ability. You're that great person who qualifies under EB-1A. What are the common requirements for EB-1A? You don't have to be Mr. Brilliant. You should be someone who has publications. Work with a good lawyer, that's a possibility, number one. Second, you should be someone who's spoken at prestigious associations. That is excellent, number two. Thirdly, you should be a member of top-notch associations, which require a very special entry requisite. For example, you become a member of NASA, you become a member of the biggest top-notch technology associations in the world, which are limited, based upon your qualifications. And they say, welcome, you're admitted. So you already met those three requirements. And then after that, write some articles about you. And there should be people writing some, a few things about you that you're so great in your field of endeavor. Get reference letters, you're good to go. You see, it's not that hard. So that falls under the EB-1A. And the good thing for a lot of countries, except for India and China, it's current. So how should I begin my thing, my thought process? So I belong to Japan. Great. Work with the lawyer. You have a master's degree and you're commanding a high salary. Look at this. That's another way to look at it. Your salary is $150,000. Immediately get in touch with the lawyer to assess your chances for an EB-1A. Now, I'm telling you very slowly why EB-1A is so important for people from India and for China too. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to teach you all a lot today of how I look at this picture. EB-1A, that's what we are discussing about. And don't be scared if from India or China. I may have news for you also. Now, under the EB-1A, let's talk about Japan first, because that's a country that doesn't have a backlog. Other countries, except India and China, do not have a backlog under EB-1A. And this is an option to the H-1B. This is an option to the H-1B. Start looking at it. You have a master's degree from the US. Excellent. You wrote your thesis. Excellent. You had some publications. This is an important pointer for you to know, even if you're from China or from India, to understand that you are getting somewhere by listening to my program on EB-1A as an option to the H-1B. You got through that first hurdle. You looked at it. Wow, I heard Attorney Gehi say that I think, I have hope under the EB-1A. Anyone can have hope who's ready to work hard and has an advanced degree. That's what I've seen. This is my personal opinion, unless you're Mr. Brilliant. You got your master's, you don't need a PhD. Remember that. A master's person, a person with a master's degree can also qualify under the EB-1A. You're done with the first part of the test. You have this great salary, you got the second part of the test right. Third thing is that you got these publications, you got the third part of the test right. Fourth is you're speaking at associations, you got it right. You're well known in the field of your endeavor, you got it. So working with any good law is critically important for you, even if you're from, the non-backlog countries, or you're from a backlog country like India, or if you are from China. So now the good news is you did not get selected. You're from a country other than India and China. Consider the EB-1A. You're done with that. You're good to go. You're very happy. You applied. You're good. Now, what happens if you do not qualify under the EB-1A? So let's first talk about, India now. Now, common mistakes which are done by India, by H-1B, holders from India who already have an H-1B. Remember, who already have an H-1B, and people who are on student visas and they are continuing the masters, etc., etc. You're done with your masters right now. You're a STEM argument from India, and you're worried that you will never get selected for the H-1B because it's a lottery. How should Indian students prepare? You're on an OPT with this great company. You got a job with this Fortune 500. You're working for this fantastic IT company, but you're worried. So what do I do for those people? I give them the EB-1A plan. Because under the EB-1A plan, I'm going to repeat, the good news is that you do not need a sponsor to qualify. You can self-sponsor yourself for a green card. And all it takes is some time and attention to discuss with an attorney. All it takes is to make sure that you're ready to put in time on the weekends and basically kind of take your skills to the next level. If you are ready to take your skills to the next level, and if you're ready to put in that extra time, the great news is you do not even need a sponsor under the EB-1A program. You do not need a sponsor. You're good to go. Apply on your own, get your green card. Have I done this? Yes. So let me take a simple example. That I had two candidates. One of them was actually from India. And this candidate was from India, and he had a master's degree only. But he was commanding a high salary. He was in the IT sector. And I've seen that he was from a good university and he had his master's. And I told him, are you ready to work hard? He said, sure, Mr. Gehi. So he began with publications. He started lecturing and he put in the hard work and the time and the dedication. And guess what? This candidate from India thought that under the EB-2 or under the EB-3 and through a sponsor, he would take 15 years. whatever that is. But he got his green card in 2.5 years. 2.5 years, he qualified for the green card. This is because the priority date was moving faster. But even if you're from India or China, consider the EB-1A if you're a master's degree holder from the US. And if you're ready to work hard, speak with the lawyer, you may be able to kind of get through the EB-1A because it's not that difficult. Now, the second option that you have, if you're from India, the sad thing is that, as you all rightly know, under the EB-3 category, you're dealing with 2012. So that's no hope. If you're looking at EB-2, again, you're looking at 2012. So if you're from India, if you're on an OPT right now, start thinking about the EB-1A directly. And if you're ready to put in the time, the dedication, the effort, and work with a good lawyer, I think you can be successful. If you're from China, do the same thing. And if you're from any other country, consider the EB-1A option. Or from any other country, also consider for countries other than China. Let's leave the China hat at the side. Let's leave the India hat at the side right now, because both those countries are backlogged. All right. So for them, EB-1A, that's how they should plan. You're from India and China, think about the EB-1A as your road to success. If you are on an H-1B or whether you are on an OPT, that should be your goal. So this session is good for people who are on an H-1B. This session is good for people who are on an OPT right now from India and China first. Consider the EB-1A. Now, let's go to a different hat. If you're from any other country, you have a master's degree, think about the EB-1A because that is very good for you. And why is it good for you? As I mentioned to you right now, because under the July bulletin, as we all can see, let's get back to our computers right now and look at the visa bulletin again so I can teach you at the same time. Hallelujah, great news. EB-1A is current for other countries. Which are the other countries? Except China and except India. All other countries are current, and you go by the country of birth. So how about an Indian who was born in the Middle East? You're very lucky because your category is current, because you're born in a country other than India. Immigration goes by the country of birth. It does not go by where you are living. Where you were born, that matters more. So if you're born to a diplomat in the UK, that's your country of birth. You lived in India, but look at your country of birth. Or look at your wife's country of birth, if she can find a sponsor. So that is how lawyers think. You're done with that. Your EB-1A is done. Now, right now, I am from Indonesia. Or if I'm from the Philippines, I'm over here. And I did not get qualified under the H-1B program. Tell your employer, sir, why don't you look at the EB-1A for me? And I think I meet the qualifications. He says, no, get in touch with the lawyer. Otherwise, what can you do? You have 3 years on your OPT. Tell them, okay, sir, let me consider the EB-3 or the EB-2 category, which is not bad for you. Because right now they're processing 15 February 2022 for EB-2 and EB-3 for other countries, which is not really a bad option. So the bottom line is what you need in these employment-based categories are lawyers who think outside the box. Thinking outside the box is not easy, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're ready to put in the hard work and the effort. So that will help you a lot to make sure that you qualify under EB-1A, EB-2, or EB-3. But if you're from India and you're from China, please don't even think about the EB-2 or the EB-3. Now, what is the common problem that people from India and China have? And how's their mindset? How do they work? Let me tell you. So all these fantastic, great people get together. They say, our wonderful friends from the IT industry get together. They are wonderful H-1B workers. Their brains are trained to think that if I have a master's degree, I cannot even think about the EB-1A. Get that out of your mind. The employers, some of them want you to think like this because you are a commodity for them. They want you to be stuck over there so that you don't get your green card for the next 15 years. Some of the big companies, because you are an asset for them. But what would a smart person do who's on an H-1B for 2 years or 3 years? You would say, you know what, let me at least speak to an attorney and see whether he can help me with the EB-1A. Get that going, folks. And you, even if you have a master's from the US, that's where your thought process should begin. You have a great salary, your thought process should say, wow, I think attorney Gehi said something that he can at least look into the chances for an EB-1A and work on the weekends for 6 to 8 months or 1 year, apply for the EB-1A, you may succeed. Have I done this before? Yes, I've done it. Master's degrees holders. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome, but that's your possibility right there. Now, other than that, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box, or you can even kind of contact us. Our number is 718-263-5999. And this is Attorney Gehi, and our website is gehilaw.com. So now we spoke about the importance of the EB-1A. It's a great thing to do. Now, the other thing is that, okay, you're not thinking about the EB-1A. Think about the O visa. If you see that you're extraordinary in your field of endeavor, you're that great student, like, you know, who got these awards for your work from different institutions. Excellent. You have 2-3 publications. Think about the O visa. The O visa is a non-immigrant visa, and that's a great option because the O visa does not require lottery, and you can still qualify for the O visa. That's a great option, and you can keep renewing. You can keep renewing your O visa for sure. That's a good thing. Can H-1B lottery non-qualifiers explore the option? Of course, you can go to any other country, but you know, you're leaving America. That's a big thing. You're not getting the same salary. That's the other thing. Now, another question that comes to my mind is that how about people? What else can they do? Get married to a green card holder. If you are legal in this country, you get married to a green card holder, you can still get your green card quickly. You don't have to wait for 10 years anymore. So let's look at that. People think that you have to marry a citizen. That is not necessary. If you marry a green card holder, you can get a green card in 1 year. You're single, cannot find a citizen, get married to a green card holder. We'll do it for you. Second thing. Okay, so we are getting a lot of questions of what are the alternative options for H-1B lottery non-qualifiers. That's a topic that we are talking about right now. That's what you need to pay close attention. You'll get all the different tricks and the procedures of how you need to plan when you're discussing with your employer. Next thing is that, you know, take an example, you're from a country where there's a war going on, you know, Ukraine. You're in an H-1B, and you got laid off from your employer, or you're on a student visa, you didn't qualify. You may still be eligible for a late asylum. Look at the war in Ukraine. Who doesn't know that you cannot go back and live? Think about asylum in those cases. Think about Russia, that because you're supporting Ukraine, and you know as a Russian that they're not going to like you, and you know it's a communist country. Look at the asylum option. People think, yes, I have to apply for an asylum within 1 year. The law is also making it clear to you that if there are extraordinary circumstances, you can also consider asylum. Actually, I handled a case wherein there was a guy, he did not qualify on an H-1B. And he was from a country other than, you know, these countries. And he was from a very conservative country, you know, where they would not, you know, the country would not encourage lesbians and gays. She told me, Mr. Gehi, I just came out of the closet and I told everyone that I'm a gay. You can apply for asylum even if you're late because you just came out of the closet. So remember, asylum is something that a lot of people under the employment-based category forget. You're living over here. And if you go back to a foreign country, even India, your enemy is going to kill you. And he's filed a lawsuit against you. That's a chain circumstance which did not exist at that time, but now it's existing. consider political asylum. It's all about how you fight your case and how you present your case in the courtroom. These are things that you may not find in many other webinars. I'm a trial lawyer. I've done a lot of trials, and at the end of the day, I try to make sure that I use all my knowledge, and the firm, Gehi Associates, has handled more than 18,000 cases. 18,000, yes, we can show you the count. We have it in front of us. So end of the day, it's all about strategy. Next thing, as you know, which most of you know, continue on your student visa. Start paying money to schools, which I would not recommend. See good lawyers. See good lawyers, meet with them, spend the money over there, get your green card out, folks. Get your strategies out of the way. The common misconception in immigration in the IT industry. And a regular IT person gets his work permit, looks for an H-1B employer, and he's literally telling his employer, please do me a favor, start my EB2 process now, EB3. Wrong approach. Yes, because that's what you all are reading on the internet. What do smart people do? They definitely get the H-1B in order. Yes, you're done. But at the same time, they work with lawyers and tell them, Mr. Gehi, plan my green card. Suppose if I get laid off, I want a backup option. Suppose if the EB2 gets backlogged, I want to work towards the EB1A. Your employer doesn't have to know that. You'll wonder why. Your employer doesn't have to know that because under the EB1A, you do not need your damn employer. Who should consider it? STEM occupants, outstanding researchers, professors, people with master's degrees, people who are ready to work hard, people who think that they are ready to put in the time and the effort. And someone asked me how much time is needed. Folks, you just need to spend your weekends and putting in some extra time to build your credentials. And lawyers should be letting you know what the law is, and you perform and you'll become, the hero. And there's another good thing which I talk about the EB1A. Do you know if your salary is 150,000, if you get published, your salary doubles, literally doubles. So it's a win-win for you. Now, what do regular planners do? They will keep going to school, keep going to school, keep going to school. How much money do you do? Other than that, start working towards building your credentials, folks. Another option which you may have is the L1A. If you were a director in your foreign country in the past 3 years, your year, then only that's a limited window. That's something that I would recommend people to do. But it may not be the best option in that regard. So these are some of the options that people have. And if you work hard and if you do well, I can assure you that EB1A is meant for you. Or tell your employer to start the EB2 process or start the EB3 process if you're not from India or China. And if you're from India or China, contact us. EB1A is the way to go. And I'm going to take some questions. And if you have any questions, you all can start posting your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. What are some potential visa categories that H-1B lottery non-qualifiers can consider? O is one of them, O visa. E2 visa is another one, which is forgotten by people. If you're a part of a country that recognizes the E2 visa program, if you're a treaty trader or treaty investor, consider that as an option. Look at your country, if it falls under the treaty trader program, that should be it. I spoke about the student visa continuation, that's another one. Then I spoke about the H-1B program to you. And investor visa is another one. If you have $1 million, look at the investor visa. J is something that I wouldn't recommend because they expect you to go back and, it's not easy to qualify under the J. L1, if you were a director of a company abroad in the past 3 years, limited window, but you should, a lot of screening and scrutiny. I would just look at it, but I would not pay very close emphasis to L. U visa, if you've been a victim of crime. If you have been a victim of criminal activity, there's an open window for that. And if you met with an assault, a very, very bad incident, your bones were broken and sad. So the good thing is that the U visa can be very helpful. And if you're a Canadian, If you're a Canadian, consider the TN visa, which is brilliant for people if you qualify under the TN occupations. So folks, bottom line is, even if you're an IT company and if your employee is stuck with this dilemma and your most important employee did not qualify, what I've done in those cases, I've looked into the O visa option for them. I've looked at the EB-1A, and that's very important. And there are some entrepreneurs who want these videos on student visas. And if you want to even start your own company, you're allowed because you're on your student visa. Because under the law, a student and the company are two different entities. Grow your company, become a pioneer. You can become great on your own. But the common misconception is to follow the line, get your H-1B. After that, basically, the thing is go under the EB-2, EB-3, not required if you are brilliant and if you're ready to put in the time and effort. So what we do at Gehi Associates is different. We don't do the regular stuff for a lot of companies because we are different. We are different kinds of lawyers. We basically look at law at a very high level. In a sense, the ordinary practice is, oh, go to this lawyer, he'll fall under the EB-2, EB-3. That's baby stuff. Think at the high level. Think about strategies that are not the norm but the exception. Think at avenues which are difficult. Think at ways which are not found, in the regular norm, in the regular stream of things. That's what we do at Gehi Associates, and especially in the employment-based arena. Because some people thought that we do not do employment-based immigration. That is wrong. We do employment-based immigration at a very high level. When you get that complex RFE, when you're running out of problem, when your L1A is stuck, when your L1B visa is stuck, when your case is denied, you want to take it to federal court, we'll be there for you. That's what we do at Gehi Associates. Of course, we cannot win every case, but we do our best on every case. We have former immigration officers working for us. Suraya Rahman used to work for immigration, and she's wonderful, and she can understand. We respect the government's perspective, and we try to basically make sure that we show them the right laws so our clients can qualify for relief in the United States of America. Now let's basically take some more questions here. We're getting a lot of questions. Shoot your questions, and I'll be happy to help you. Are there any limitations or restrictions on the number of alternative visas available? It depends on the category. O visa does nothing, so that's good news. So it depends on the visa types. That's my answer to your question. So ultimately, it's all about how you plan your case, what you do, how you work on cases. That's the key part over here. So if there are any other questions, we can talk about it. If not, let us know. You can reach us at 718-263-5999. And our website is gehilaw.com, www.gehilaw.com. And by the way, some other important news for people if you're abroad and if you're watching this, and a surprise to you. And this is a gift for people today. Do you know that even if you're living in China, India, Japan, you do not need a sponsor for the EB-1A. If you have publications, if your name has come up in newspapers, if you're well known in the field of endeavor, you can directly apply for a green card. You can directly apply for a green card. You don't need a sponsor if you're a person of extraordinary ability. You won some major international prizes. You have publications. You've spoken at renowned conferences. Self-sponsor yourself for the green card. Don't need a sponsor. So there is one more question here. How does the process of obtaining an alternative visa differ from the H-1B lottery process? The process is different because there's no lottery. For the O visa, there's no lottery. EB-1A, there's no lottery. You can apply on your own. That's the beauty of it. So folks, before I leave, I'm going to give a summation. You did not qualify with the H-1B, don't worry about it. Contact us, we may be able to help you. You're stuck in the H-1B situation, your employer, your visa category is backed up, you've given up hope on the EB-2 or EB-3, consider EB-1A, we may be able to help you. Student visa holder did not get selected from a country other than China and India, consider the EB-1A, speak to the employer, or EB-2, work on that because that's not that bad really, or EB-3, it's not that bad, get it out of your way. That's how things work in the real world, folks. So if there's any other question, you can reach us, and our number is 718-260-5999, or you can email us at info@gehilaw.com, or visit us at gehilaw.com, or contact us, and we handle immigration cases from all over the US and the world. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. This is an attorney advertisement. We'll be back again next time on this program, Green Card with Gehi, and it'll be an open forum. So the good thing about this forum is you can ask us any questions of your choice, and we'll be happy to answer you. So the message from Gehi and Associates is think outside the box in your immigration matter. Don't think like a regular person if you're in the employment-based immigration category, because you'll be waiting for years, you'll be waiting for decades to get your green card from India and China. Come up with strategies outside the box and qualify for a green card. Thank you, folks. We'll be back again with some more shows from the world of law. And if you like this, like us on Facebook, share this video, and let your friends know to watch Green Card with Gehi on a regular basis. Thank you, folks.